Hey there, I am back with another deck review, and today we're going to be looking at Gaslamp playing cards from Art of Play. This deck was designed by Jeff Trish. He's the same designer behind the fantastic Sons of Liberty cards. If you haven't seen those, I highly recommend those. One of my favorite decks out there. But Gaslamp celebrates the history of San Diego. Gaslamp District is one of the most well-known districts in downtown San Diego, which is, of course, also the home of Art of Play. That's where their play capsule is. But the Gaslamp District really has a rich history, beautiful Victorian buildings that have been preserved. It's really kind of gone through an overhaul and a revitalization over the last probably 40 or 50 years to become one of the really trendy spots in San Diego. But let's take a look at this deck and see how they celebrated the history of San Diego. All right, starting with the tuck case, these are done by Clove St Press, one of the best tuck case makers in the world, in my opinion. And they did it on this fantastic deep red cardstock here. You can see the slight embossing that's done on here, just very slight, and it's covered with tons of different foils. You got the gold, the white, and the black, which all had that nice sheen to it. Really beautiful image here that's kind of created with that combination of colors. Of course, you have the name of the deck, Gaslamp, across the big banner in the middle. And then you've got the little scene kind of from the Gaslamp District back in the day with the old Victorian buildings, many of which are still preserved today. You got the horse and carriage going down the road, but beautifully designed in that gold foil. And of course, the gas lamps that would light the street and really lent their name to the area. Around the edge, you got historic, established in 1867 when San Diego was first founded, and Seal of San Diego down there at the bottom in white. So really cool scene. Like I said, love the color combinations. As you turn to one side, you've got designed by Jeff Trish, mentioned him before, produced by Art of Play. And here in the middle, you've got a portrait of a guy. This is William Heath Davis. He actually had the first failed settlement in the area. So he tried to settle it back in like the 1850s. Didn't really go anywhere, and so there were just a bunch of buildings that lay empty the whole time. We got unrivaled and entrusted playing cards made in the United States of America. The deck is printed by USPCC. On the other side, more of the same. This time, though, the image is Alonzo Horton. So you have William Heath Davis over here and Alonzo Horton on this side with a little longer beard. Alonzo Horton's the one who actually ended up finally getting the establishment of San Diego off the ground. So he built a bunch of real estate in the area and really kind of finally got the area going. So back in 1867, he's the one who finally founded it. The back here gives you a beautifully foiled version of the back of the cards, and you can really see how that gold foil just absolutely glows. We'll talk about the details on here in a second, but take a look at just how intricate and detailed that foiling is. Just a really impressive job done by the guys at Clove St Press. Bottom has your ad copy for Art of Play. And then top, this says that this is a first edition, so not sure if there will be future editions of this one planned. And then you've got a brown kind of packing paper postage stamp style seal approved by the Buck twins and made in the United States. As you open it up, just some slight gold foil printing on the inner flaps, and you get some really nice interior printing as well that I like a lot. Just a really fairly simple but intricate pattern, and then kind of one of those taglines for Art of Play: epiphanies await the curious mind. So really nicely done tuck case. Love what was done, but let's take a look at the cards. And here's the back design. Now, after all of the vivid color of that tuck case, it was really surprising to me that they went with a monochrome back design. I mean, there's some shading and some different depths that are created with the darker colors and the more lightly shaded, but overall it's a pretty flat design compared to just how beautiful that tuck case looks. Love the artwork, but I think just some color in here really would have livened it up. But nonetheless, the artwork is still really beautiful. Of course, the center image features those two gas lamps really prominently glowing, and then you have Gaslamp San Diego banners. Up here you have the Roman numerals MDCCC LXVII for 1867 when San Diego was founded. And then lots of details around the edge that seem sort of inspired by Victorian style architecture. So really nicely done. artwork on this one, and then that thin white poker border around the edge. So other than the pops of color, really can't complain about the artwork itself. I think it's really well done. All right, turning to the cards themselves, and the Jokers kind of continue that monochromatic theme and have what's sort of a city scene of old San Diego, or the old Gaslamp District, those Victorian style buildings lining the street. And oddly, there's rabbits that are all running through the streets. And this actually goes back to one of the stories from William Heath Davis. So I mentioned before, William Heath Davis was the first one who formed what was ultimately a failed settlement in the area. And so he built all these buildings, and then they just lay empty. And so there was this joke that kind of went around from people that all the area was good for was housing for the local rabbit population. They actually called it Rabbitville at the time. So that's kind of the story behind the diptych Joker that you see here. And again, beautiful black and white style printing. All right, there's your two Jokers. You get a couple of gaff cards, always nice. You get a double backer and a blank facer. So it kind of amps up the use of this deck potentially for Magic. And then you get into the aces. So the power ace of spades continues that black and white sort of vintage vibe to it. Just features a gas lamp in the center of a large spade pip, premium gas lamp playing cards. And then here are two founders, William Heath Davis and Alonzo Horton, along with the Seal of San Diego featured in the middle. Again, great artwork on this, really intricate, monotone color. You get the kind of ornate index there in the corner, a little bit of a flare to the A, and then a fairly standard pip in the corner. The other three aces are all much more standard, really slightly customized pips, but nothing too special on these. But nice, ordinary, fully functional ones. And the rest of the deck is going to be a lot more standard. So the number cards you look at here, other than the very slightly customized pips, nothing too out of the ordinary. Black cards are black, red cards are red. Just what you'd expect from a more standard deck. Maybe slightly chunkier pips, but nothing too out of the ordinary as we go through these. And there's your hearts. And then we get into the court cards. And the court cards are modified, recolored standard courts. These aren't bicycle standard, these are more styled after the Arco decks, which I think is nice with the sort of vintage feel the whole deck has. I think the Arco courts really carry that vintage look to them as well. So these are recolored in a series of red, green, and yellow. Interesting color combinations. I like the red, I like the yellow. Don't know how I feel about the green. Leaves it a little, I don't know, makes this feel Christmassy in a way. So not sure that I like the green in there as much as I like the other couple of colors. But if you look at the faces here, you'll see those are slightly redrawn as well. Just a really thin and more delicate and detailed lines on these. So not bad, fairly standard courts, Arco style courts, but otherwise nicely done nonetheless. So there are your courts. And that's the deck. As far as handling, these are done on that super crushed stock that Art of Play usually uses. If you felt their other decks, you know they use this very thin stock, and it always handles beautifully. Silky smooth, fans, cuts, dribbles, and springs are all gonna work out great with this. And then that leads to, what would I use this deck for? Well, if you are a fan of tuck cases, this tuck case is fantastic. Gonna look great on a shelf for any collector. So I'll start there. The cards themselves, I think, would be great for gameplay, especially if you're in San Diego or from San Diego. I think it's a great memento. So great for gameplay, definitely suitable for Magic, handles well enough for cardistry. So I think it's really just a great functional deck first and foremost. But that's it. That's the look at Gaslamp playing cards from Art of Play. Hope you enjoyed this look, and make sure to subscribe for more deck reviews and unboxings. Let me know what else you want to see, and I'll see you for the next one.